Welcome everybody to this video. Gukesh is on fire, beating every single player in the Croatia Super United GCT Rapid and Blitz tournament. So in this video, we are going to be seeing particularly his game against Abdusattorov Nodirbek in the round 5. And yes, he is with the black pieces and it's a very interesting game. So yes, let's get started. Okay, so with the white pieces, Nodirbek started the game with 1d4. We see knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3 and bishop b4. So this is the Nimzo Indian defense. We see queen c2. So this is all theory that is played. d5, a3, takes, castles, knight f3, knight bd7 and we see bishop to g5. Now here black plays the move b6. Of course, the plan is to open up this bishop from this diagonal because of course when you play a move like e6 in the Nimzo Indian, this bishop gets restricted to come out from this diagonal. So now white took, e takes and we see the move e3 so that this bishop is open now and white can simply castle in the future. And we see c5. So we see then bishop to b5. So white thought to keep the position solid and not take this right away and keep the tension in the game and played the move bishop to b5. Now here black played the move h6 and bishop goes back, and here black played the move a5, which is already a mistake in the 12th move of the game because the best move was to play the move g5. Bishop goes back to g3 and play knight e4 because the queen is attacked, bishop is attacked. Let's say queen c2 goes and then we come knight df6. And now you can see these two knights are super solid in the center, and black already has the advantage on move, let's say 14th. Yes, on the move 14th black has the advantage, the positional advantage. But Gukesh did not go with the move g5 and instead played the move a5 on the queen side, which was a mistake, a very big mistake, because it's simply giving up a pawn. So why it's giving up a pawn? Because white can simply take this pawn. If knight takes, then this knight is not defended well. White can simply take, queen takes, pawn takes, and now you can see black's king side is very weak. So the knight won't take, and if the pawn takes, then bishop takes d7. Queen cannot take because yes, you lose another pawn here in the king side, and the knight is pinned so it cannot take. So bishop takes, and now directly queen c5, and white is already a pawn up and is winning. But Nodirbek did not play this. After the move a5, he played the move bishop to c6 and he missed it. Some thought might have arose in his mind and he did not take the free pawn and instead played the move bishop to c6, which is also a mistake. So we see two back-to-back mistakes because here Gukesh has a brilliant move to be played. Here Gukesh can play the move bishop to a6, sacrificing the a8 rook. This is because more than the rook, let's say bishop takes, queen takes, this diagonal that the bishop gets is beautiful. White king can never castle there. And also there is no piece that can come in front of this diagonal and stop the bishop from not allowing to castle. Also you can see if white king decides to castle long, then black can always open up the c file and put the rook on c8, and that will also be a trouble for white. So bishop a6 is very strong here. And also if we continue few moves, let's say bishop takes, knight takes, and let's say pawn takes, then already knight e4, queen goes behind and knight takes, and black is minus 1.2. So it is very good for black in this position because the bishop and knight synchronizes in the position, taking so many squares. Rook is coming in, queen is seeing this diagonal also. So this was something that Gukesh could have played, but he missed it and played the move rook a7 instead, defending the rook, and it was one of the only squares the rook could go and the second best move as well. So here now we see the move pawn takes c5. So now Abdusattorov saw this, that the pawn is hanging, so why not take it now? But there is a slight difference from the initial position where we saw that the pawn was hanging and white was getting an advantage. Here you can already see the bar, white is not getting an advantage gaining that pawn. I'll tell you why. Because black took the pawn, bishop takes, and now rook can take. And now when we chop off the pawn, that Nodirbek did, which was a mistake. You can see taking this was a mistake, because now Gukesh gets another opportunity to play the move bishop to a6, and this time he did not miss it. This time he saw this move. This was a very accurate move to play in this point of the game, because white can now not castle. Also king side, if white castles c, this entire c file is opened. White can never do that, telling that this rook is right now here. Also, the minute difference between the last position and this is here bishop a6 was possible, and hence taking that pawn on c5 was bad by white. But previously when we saw here after this, why was this getting a pawn for white, was because here now bishop cannot come to this diagonal because the queen is there, correct? In that position the rook was taking here and the bishop was still here, so the bishop was able to come here, correct? So this was the minute difference that supposedly Nodirbek missed. So this happened in the game, and we see bishop to a6. So now we see queen d4. Okay, you are keeping pressure on this knight, and you are also not allowing this pawn to push. And we see g5. g5 was played, one of the only moves, because the second move that could be played was rook d6. But okay, g5 is all the time very good. And if you think that white can sacrifice here and somehow push here and open, that's not the case, because after taking rook d6 and some move like queen b6, everything might get exchanged and black would have the material advantage. So that could not have been done. So we see bishop g3 that was played in the game, and now we see knight coming to e4. So knight takes the center right now, and here a mistake, a crucial mistake that Nodirbek did again was to play the move rook to c1. Instead he had to play the move knight e5 and go for activity, and he did not have to play slow by playing a move like rook c1, because you see knight coming to e5 introduces more tactics as well. Black cannot play a move like rook c7 because white can simply play the move and knight to g6, and there's a discovered attack here and here, and white can manage to get some piece advantage. Also a move like rook d6 introduces f3, and if you think you can go somehow counter attack here, then knight g4. Knight g4 simply attacks this is attacked, so white is better. And if you think you can take, then also this rook is open, so white is winning that way as well. Also if you think you can retreat behind, then simply a move like castle might also do the job, and rook c1 as well. Now, but knight e5 was missed. Knight e5 was missed in the game, and rook c1 was played. Rook c1 played, and here instead of playing the best moves that were rook e8 or rook e7, black played the move queen to a8. Gukesh chose to play the move queen a8 because supposedly I see the idea of rook c8 coming in and trading of the pieces, because white king is in the center. So you want to get your queen somehow or rook somehow into white's territory. Now here white played the move queen to e1, which was a blunder. This was a massive blunder, because what was the queen doing on d4? One of the crucial tasks that the queen was doing on d4 was not allowing this pawn to push. Now after you play a move like queen to e1, this pawn is allowed to push. So you can simply play this and black is completely winning. You can see engine gives an advantage of minus 3.5, which is massive, because here let's say if the pawn takes, then you can directly take this, pawn takes and rook e8 check, and white king is toasted with all the pieces seeing it. The queen is going to enter, the other rook is going to enter, everything is entering. So the pawn is of course not going to take it, and if the knight takes it, then simple calm move rook e8 does the job. because in the next move, yeah, anyway you're going to sacrifice this, take this, the queen is entering and you are done. Also you can see some move like this does not work because simply takes and this wins the queen. And a move like, let's say here, to remove the pin, also you can sacrifice this, sacrifice here, this I think will take this and this, and you can see everything is being attacked. The bishop is doing a very beautiful job sitting on a6. So this was a move that again Gukesh missed it. Another move that was missed by the world champion, Black missed the move that was a d4, but he played the move rook c8, which again brought the bar to the level. So knight d4 instantly played because okay, might have realized that this was a blunder. So now knight d4 again stops the pawn from pushing, and the knight is on, okay, sorry about that, knight is on a beautiful outpost right here. Here we see knight c5, rook c2 and the move a4. So now Gukesh has changed his plans, and there are many plans of keeping attack on these two squares. These two squares are very crucial. The pawn is attacking these two squares, the bishop is giving support here, the knight can anyway enter here and do something, and hence Black chose to play the move king to d2. So this is another mistake on the board, and I think the final mistake, and Gukesh spotted the best move, that is rook b7. You'll see why rook b7 is very good. The major idea is just to keep defense on this, keep attacking here. The b3 square has become very vulnerable. Also this was a terrible move because let's continue. Queen came here and now bishop c4, and now you see that this square, the knight can pounce in anywhere. The bishop can come here, the rook is almost trapped because if rook comes here, the knight fork and the rook is lost. And if you do anything else, this is also coming, this is also coming, everything is coming. And hence, to avoid this move, this rook trap here and knight coming to e4, white played the move f3 so that the knight cannot come here. But now the simple move queen check, king was behind and knight coming in, Black is completely dominating with a -5 advantage, because here the queen is attacked. If the queen moves somewhere, the only square, knight exchanges itself and the bishop keeps itself on b3 and the rook is lost. Also if the knight takes here, then bishop takes and the rook is anyway lost. So white thought to play a last move, that is bishop d1, but it does not do anything, and after the move queen to a6, Nodirbek resigned the game because there is no hope playing, the queen is attacked. These two are the only moves to be played and they are completely lost. Black is completely winning, and yes, with that Gukesh managed to somehow, after playing so many mistakes, both the players, Black turned out at the last and Gukesh managed to win this game. The round 5th was won by Gukesh, and yes, it is a very interesting tournament going ahead with so many games left. So let's see what happens, because there are many twists coming in. And if you want to see such analysis video till the end of the tournament, do subscribe to my channel, keep on your notification on, like the video and comment down below what do you think about this particular game, because I found it very interesting. And you can see minute details that the pawn was hanging in that position, but in the other position it was not hanging, and the minute details that we had to keep in mind were amazing. This d4 idea was also very good. So yeah, that was for the video. I hope you liked it, and yes, stay safe, play chess, and meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.